Booyah!
This internet thing is never going to work out. I don't know why I'm doing so much of it.
I don't know. With all podcasting and whatnot.
It's never going to work.
Never. Let me bring this over. I have a bit. Alright, let me.
Hello, anyone out there watching. We are about to do a Gaiden episode of Fanny Pack Wrestling, where Petey Rave and I talk about Jury Mania weekend.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for dropping by. And thanks for listening.
Yes.
I wasn't there because my life kind of fell apart and went to shit. So he enjoyed his weekend in California with Justin Robert Young, Rick Foster and Mitzula. And I watched stuff. I didn't watch a lot of stuff. I didn't watch a lot, but I watched some stuff.
Okay, and we will talk about the stuff that you watched. All right, let's get ready. I'm screen sharing. All right. All right. Because now I can do these things. All right. Let's get ready to rock and roll. All right, it begins in 3, 2, 1. Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to another special Gaiden edition of the Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast. I am Petey Rave, your man with no plan. Here with me, as always, and once again, my buddy, my tag team partner, David Jeffrey Majors, aka DJM. How you doing, DJM?
Chim chim cheerio, Petey Rave and Fanny Pack fans. As you are already aware, this is a Fanny Pack Gaiden episode, a very special episode of the Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast. Petey Rave enjoyed the weekend festivities in California for Jury Mania, which coincided with Wrestlemania 31 as well as WrestleCon in Santa Clara, California. I watched it from home. Petey was there live and in person, and we're gonna do the damn thing right here and right now.
Of course, if you want to kind of walk through it before, because we talked about it at length in the last proper episode of the Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast. This is the pity
party for me because I wasn't there, everybody. This is essentially what this is.
Yes. No, because we wanted because I didn't really talk about it from my perspective as much as I just interviewed the guys, and I wanted to kind of see what you saw of it from a third-person perspective. We had a fun weekend of wrestling in the Bay Area. I literally went east, south, and west Bay at some point in my travels there, and it was a fun experience.
Bays.
Yeah,
this is why they call it the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And let's get down to it. How much did you get a chance to check out from remotely?
Truth be told, I only, by and large, I basically read results online. I actually watched video-wise, streaming-wise, very, very little.
Yeah.
maybe it might be a little bit of wrestling burnout. It might be because I had to make choices financially, but overall, it ended up being I was able to keep up with everything on the interwebs, and thanks to you, Petey. But actually sitting down and watching live as it happened, I ended up not doing a whole heck of a lot, truthfully, and I surprised myself a little bit.
Yes. Overall, there was a lot to watch, and one of the things we noted right at the beginning of our episode last week was how much we kind of missed you, because it's like and Justin.
Full disclaimer, Petey, I did not listen to the podcast.
That's all right. One of the things that Justin brought up immediately was that there was the fact that we had a lot of fun, and that he felt that if there was one guy that would have really absolutely enjoyed the weekend and all that we saw, it would have been you. And we almost talked like you were dead, which was kind of hilarious.
Well,
but you know,
greatly appreciated, gentlemen. Justin, Rick Foster, Mitzula, Petey Rave, greatly appreciated. Thank you.
And we had a lot of fun.
Your thoughts.
Yes, of course. And we had a lot of fun. We also had part of the fun was our matching T-shirts. As you can see, I'm wearing the Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast logo with the background.
Once again, since I was not there, and
then of course the back we have, hey, at least it's not a Bullet Club shirt.
Petey, I know you're probably planning to replace me with Rick Foster or Mitzula now, but can I have a shirt?
Let me see.
Can I have a shirt, Petey?
Let me see the size. Hey, this one's a large. I know I don't wear a large. Do I know somebody that wears a large?
You do know someone that does wear a large.
I think I do. Oh, this one's yours that I ordered and made and had sent to Jerry's house for the pure purposes of taking it back home and shipping it to you.
Yay.
Because at least I wanted to... there was even a plan of having a cardboard cutout of you that we would carry around. But, of course, it was just a 5-second fantasy, but it would have been hilarious if we'd just gotten, a cardboard cutout. It was just
that is greatly appreciated. You are putting me over far more than I deserve.
And another aspect of the channeling you remotely was one of the fun aspects of recapping the weekend was the fact that we basically did the three things I know you would have done, which was we shit on Chris Hero and we praised Nikki Storm and SoCal Val.
Yep, that pretty much covers it.
Pretty much, and it was an interesting experience seeing Chris Hero in person, and being greatly underwhelmed.
Yeah, and to think, I saw Chris Hero in person a couple of times around 2006 or 2007, and after he's been chewed up and spit out by the developmental system, that is what's left of him, or more appropriately, that is the new and improved Chris Hero.
Yeah. And I think the main thing we discussed was that I think we reiterated the fact that he's just wearing the wrong gear. Seriously.
I don't think anyone would really argue with him going back to his old gear. The old, even though I know, Indy Wrestling, he's wearing pleather and he's wearing a shirt and he's got the pleather like it's the early 2000s. I think that if it were Chris Hero, most people would probably be okay. I mean, look at the day and age we're in right now. The current NXT champion, a guy that people are comparing to Brock Lesnar and Kevin Owens, wrestles in a singlet and a t-shirt.
Yes, exactly.
It's a great new world.
Yeah, and shorts.
Great new world.
And it's fantastic. Hell, B-Boy is still got his pleather shorts going. I saw him at Hoodslam.
That's B-Boy, though.
I saw him at Hoodslam. That was fun.
Yes, Hoodslam. I have thoughts about Hoodslam.
All right, so let's go kind of through this. So one of the aspects of the weekend was the WWN live experience,
Hmm.
which was interesting. It was separate from WrestleCon. I didn't get a chance to actually go to WrestleCon because, like last year when they started it, WrestleCon and the WWN live experience had become their own separate things. Of course,
Can't we all just get along, man?
yeah. And Ring of Honor was in Redwood City. One thing was in Santa Clara. The other thing, all right, whatever. Because God forbid we coordinate and work together and make ourselves stronger as a community.
Well, they got that salt, so.
Yeah, they got the fault. But yeah, it was the WWN live experience. Of course, the Sapolsky verse. And I think overall, we actually, it was interesting to kind of see the experience through new eyes, especially Mitzula for one event and Rick Foster for a couple events, and they were definitely impressed by the events. And I think one of the cool experiences was seeing Rick Foster get won over by Biff Busick. Biff Busick put together some good performances. He got won over by a Biff Busick match with Chris Hero. For all people.
Wow. Oh
Which
yeah,
tells you-
that one. I know the one you're talking about, and Chris Hero, for all his flaws
Fault,
now, he knows, as they say, how to work, good brother.
Yes.
And Biff Busick is just damn good regardless. So it does not surprise me that would have happened. And also, hey, Rick Foster, he likes an indie guy now.
Yes. Yeah, it was cool to kind of see him get excited by him. And of course, like we mentioned before, they both were absolutely enamored with SoCal Val.
Oh,
just
God,
with her
yes.
like work, and she was just there as a manager.
Yeah.
And Mitsula, just out of I think Pavlovian or kind of just a Freudian way, he kept referring to her as a valet. And one of the things we had a discussion about, well, actually, she's a quality manager more than a valet.
And she has been for years.
Yeah, and she
was a
fantastic.
manager in PWG back in the day.
Yeah. She was just so fantastic. The way she would kind of just be her little moments all throughout the match with the crowd were just fantastic.
Absolutely.
And awesome and hilarious. And we got one.
I've been trumpeting the talents of the governor of California for years and years, and she was a joy to see on TNA Impact every week. And when she actually was involved in stuff, she was great, and all of the work she's done on the indies that I've seen, she never disappoints. So I'm glad to see more people coming around to SoCal Val.
Yes, and that was a great experience. And then, of course, Rick Foster, I don't know if Mitzula really got a chance to experience it because he only showed up on Saturday, but Rick Foster also enjoyed, as I already knew I was going to enjoy, the presence of Nikki Storm. The white chocolate cheesecake of sports entertainment, the best in the galaxy from Glasgow, Scotland.
She's so going to be in NXT.
Yes.
If she does not end up in NXT in the next year or two, there is no justice in the world. Yeah. She is just a superstar in the making.
Yes.
But I hesitate saying that because the former Tennille Dashwood, now currently known as Emma, was also very talented and charismatic. And yeah, that not exactly worked out very well for Emma, who I love.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, she's got a steady gig.
That's true.
She's got a steady paycheck. That's all that matters. But Nikki Storm was fantastic.
Storm is I would almost go so far as to say is that my fandom for her is nearly starting to reach Leva Bates levels of fandom.
Which is big. Leva Bates, who I was surprised did not make the trip. And it's a clear across the country trip, understandable, and she didn't have a strap to defend, but she didn't make the trip.
She's pretty much exclusively Florida.
Yeah.
Because she has her day job and her stunt work. So she's almost exclusively Florida.
Yeah. Another cool thing about Nikki Storm, which is adorable, she's I noticed she's actually even shorter than Portia Perez, and she had a moment, which is short. That's teeny. And like it was a great moment where she was standing in front of Portia Perez. She was like trying to get up on her level. She's just like getting on her tippy toes and trying to get as tall as her. And I was like, wow.
Wow, she's tiny. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it's like one of those things you don't realize.
She's like a little bundle of amazingness.
Yes. But yeah, those are, and then the Shimmer show was a fantastic show. There was kind of a little bit of up and down. They had the whole chick fight tournament, which was interesting. I didn't get to catch the whole thing. I missed a few of the early matches because we had to do public transit from Oakland to Santa Clara, so it took a little bit of time.
Public transit?
That was it. Yes.
Justin ain't got your car?
Yes, but he had a day job. All right, so he had somehow scheduled go games for himself on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday during the day. So it was basically everybody but Justin during the day until like Ring of Honor, NXT, and
come on, Petey, you got to do a DJM style and get yourself a rental car, man.
We did eventually because we had to, and we had Mitzula as our designated sober driver for the last couple of days of the trip. God bless Mitzula. Thank you, Base Mitzula, for that.
Thank you, Mitzula, for getting my boy back safe and sound. Thank you.
Yes. But yeah, it was a fun Shimmer show. It was interesting, kind of odd booking at times, but like some really cool matches. I got to see Mia Yim throw down, which was fantastic. I believe it was Mia Yim versus Athena.
Okay.
Yes, Mia Yim.
I believe they have a series of matches going on right now.
Yeah, and it was a nice. I mean, as you would expect, just kind of a lot of great strikes, a lot of great moves, and they worked well together. I think it was a good match to impress my, my guests for the evening, which was Rick Foster. I think he was impressed. I was impressed. I'm always glad to see Athena live. Of course, coming off, like I said, 2 years ago, Athena versus Hamada was one of my favorite matches of the entire WrestleCon weekend. So I'm pretty bullish on Athena, and I hope she is. I hope as we are.
I would not be surprised to see Athena spending a lot of time in Orlando, Florida, as well.
Yes, exactly.
Her and Mia Yim, for that matter.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Other interesting moments. I would have to say the WWN live experience, the WWN live Super Show was interesting for one main thing. First of all, it was a really cool event from top to bottom. Had some really cool matches. The interesting thing is that it seemed very obvious that the Dragon Gate USA brand might be going away.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, and one of the comments that I made, I wasn't aware of what the situation was. I just noticed it's not named Dragon Gate USA, which is Mercury Rising is usually a Dragon Gate USA thing, and the Evolve and DG the Open the Freedom Gate titles were both on the line. It was a title versus title match with Drew Galloway versus Johnny Gargano. So
now,
they were merging the
title match, or was it a title unification match?
They called it just title versus title.
Okay. So they're trying to leave it open. All right.
They were trying to leave it open, but, and on top of that...
The right man won, Petey. The right man
Galloway.
won.
He got to take the
Galloway.
Scotland. Here's another odd thing. I don't know if you were reading the results, but he showed up in the middle of the show and went, "Hey, man, I love y'all. I'm so happy to be performing in front of y'all. There's nothing in the world that I'm going to love more than performing in front of y'all. I've got a flight at 8:55, so I'm going to go have my match right now."
It happens.
Is that cool with y'all?
Was that Drew?
Yes, it was Drew Galloway.
I'm pretty sure I remember reading on PW Insider that he was in Australia, then he was at WrestleCon, and then he was going back to Scotland.
Yeah, for Battlemania. For Battlemania, yeah.
He was literally going all over the world.
Yes, all around the world.
I remember, like, not long before that, he actually took a picture in Australia with Alberto El Patron, and then he was there in California. And I remember hearing that he's got to fly right back out to Scotland. So, yeah, I totally got that. Oh, Petey, about this show, another thing. There was a little bit of a throwback to the golden age of Ring of Honor in the mid-2000s.
Yes, there was.
We saw the reunion of Generation Next.
Yes.
Austin Aries and Roderick Strong?
Yes. Generation Next. Austin Aries and Roderick Strong taking on Ricochet and Uhaa Nation of the next generation, the new generation. All
we need is a cameo from Jack Evans from the heavens, and I'm set.
Yes. It was well, okay, first of all, the beginning of the match was hilarious because they came out with their classic theme song. And the first thing that happens is that Austin Aries grabs a mic and says, "Yo, I just remembered how bad our theme song used to be. Thanks for that." It's like, I just remember how horrible our theme song is. Thank you for that. And that was fun, and it was a really fun match. It lives up to the billing. It had some great moments, like Ricochet pulled some great stuff. Uhaa Nation didn't do as much stuff this weekend. I think
because he's trying to keep himself, injury free.
Yes,
but before he gets on that plane to Orlando.
Yes, which was interesting because one of the first moments was I think he faced Drew Galloway at Evolve, I want to say, and he very obvious Drew was alluding, was like, I'm looking forward to what you're going to do, and it's going to be the last time we're going to face each other in this ring, making obvious allusions to him going to Orlando.
Best of luck in your future endeavors, Uhaa.
Yes.
That's basically all that was left to be said.
Yes. A steady paycheck for all the good people. Yay!
And to Uhaa, once again, best of luck in your future endeavors. And I look forward to fantasy booking all sorts of cool things in NXT for you.
And we will talk a little bit about my experience in NXT in a moment. But my last thing about
you did go to that show, right?
Yes. We'll talk about it in a second because then that came after Ring of Honor. That was a wild trip. But the last thing, which was interesting, we made fun of it. Mitzula kind of had a little great moment to make fun of it. They kept announcing throughout the night that they had the merch, had the Evolve, Shine, WWN Live Experience, the Dragon Gate merch. And they kept making sure we knew that the Dragon Gate USA merch was all half price at $10 specifically.
Yeah.
It's like they were having a clearance sale, and it's like they didn't call it. It's just like
sometimes you gotta move on.
Yeah, sometimes, and it's like
it's time to move on,
which is understandable. You want to define your own brand, which is what the WWN brand is a good brand to kind of go under. Because it's their own brand, it's their own family, and it's really cool. So it's understandable, but it was kind of funny how it was. We're not saying, but we're basically making it obvious, kind of.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just
saying Dragon Gate USA merch is half off.
Guys.
And also, if you were sitting in the front 2 rows, you got $10 in merch credit.
You just come on up, and we'll give you some Dragon Gate USA stuff.
Yeah, it's just for free. Just here. But that was a fun experience, and that led to, of course, the rental car, because we had to really kind of. Well, no, that didn't lead to the rental car, did it? That was before. Okay, we're going back to Friday night because, man, it was a blur of indie wrestling craziness. But we're going back to Friday night, and we're talking about Ring of Honor, which was an interesting experience.
ROH.
I have to say one of the.
So, Petey, I've got to ask.
Yes.
What did my boy Rick Foster think of Ring of Honor this weekend?
I think he liked it. Overall, the show, he liked it. I think all the guys pretty much liked the matches. It was our first experience with Moose. Moose. It was an Moose is definitely a character. Is definitely a force. Veda Scott looking very un-Veda Scott looking, and like she has a completely different outfit when she's managing Moose, and which is odd. She looked like I don't want to say like a Jersey girl ish thing, like a Jersey Italian. I don't know. It was an odd outfit. Very no glasses, but teased hair, and, like the skirt. It was odd. But yeah, Moose was interesting, and I definitely could see the youngness, the youth, the inexperience, but I could definitely see how he leaves an impression and gets people interested.
He is extremely athletic, but I believe in the business, good brother, the word they would use is green.
Yes. I believe there's also a bird excrement that you would compare it to. But I don't want to do that because Moose would beat me up.
Yes, he would. He would beat all of us up. Everyone in chat realm. Yes. By himself.
Yes. But that was an interesting experience. And the other moment that we became a part of was the reunion, or the conclusion of the Lacey storyline, because Jimmy Jacobs had a match with none other than BJ Whitmer.
Yes.
Jimmy Jacobs had a no DQ match versus BJ Whitmer.
Oh God, Petey. Jimmy Jacobs and BJ Whitmer have had a story that now I would say is almost a decade old.
Yes.
Going back to the days of Ring of Honor when CM Punk was still in Ring of Honor. That's how far back BJ Whitmer and Jimmy Jacobs go.
Yes.
As tag team champions, they were the unit collectively known as Lacey's Angels, and just the feud that they had with some of the crazy bloody matches that they had. Some I got to see live in Detroit, and just years and years and years. And I don't know if I've ever said this, but here on the Fanny Pack, but Lacey is probably the best heel in the history of Ring of Honor, because I absolutely despised her. She was just the heel of heels, maybe only bettered by the legendary Jimmy Rave.
Yes.
And for years and years and years, Jimmy loved Lacey and wanted to do anything to try and get Lacey, but Lacey would never give him the time of day until the age of the fall, and then we got to see Necro Butcher in ROH, and then this Tyler Black guy showed up. Tyler Black, Petey, you ever heard of him?
I think he had a pretty good run. I saw a couple of his matches in Ring of Honor.
I mean, he's a former Ring of Honor world champion. He's pretty good, but Tyler Black, whereabouts currently unknown.
Yes,
but he was pretty good.
But yes,
yeah. Just going back to Jimmy and BJ, just so much history. This was Ring of Honor is doing a really good job of doing things for the longtime Ring of Honor fans, as well as still kind of building the Ring of Honor brand back to prominence. And looking at this whole show, this really showed a lot of that.
Yeah, and then the match was, of course, for anybody out there probably knows that it was Jimmy Jacobs' kind of like go-away match, kind of his farewell match, before he kind of took a job as a creative writer for the WWE, which is interesting.
Jimmy is moving up to the next level, and he's going to be a writer. If you saw the Jimmy on Twitter when he was giving his thank yous and everything, he took a picture with Lacey, and he called it "My Happy Ending." And me, being the longtime Ring of Honor fan, it was just explosion of feels, explosion of feels. Yes.
Of course, I had the moment
right
where
after that, a couple of days later, he took a picture with Kevin Owens, and it was the feels all over again.
Yes. Oh my God.
And also Jimmy being a Michigan guy. I've watched him in some of the Michigan indies, and it's like, yay!
Yay. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's one of the good guys. And
Still
of
don't
course
know what
I had
happened to that Tyler Black guy. Don't know what happened.
It'll be interesting
Weird.
to kind of find out. But I hear like he dyed his hair or something. I don't know.
Oh. I heard he like joined like a paramilitary group or something. That's what I heard.
That's odd. I'm worried about that. But I did have the interesting moment of that at the end of that match, having to kind of like try to quickly explain to several people around me who Lacey was and why that moment was important, because they kind of weren't quite aware. It's like, who's that? Who's that? It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that like, goes way.
It's like it's a thing. It's a thing. It kind of goes back to like 9 years ago. They did, in fact, the song you're hearing right now. It's because they were playing the Lacey song. The song, he made that song 9 years ago.
And when that song first debuted, at the event that first debuted, I was in that crowd, waving my phone side to side as if it were a lighter, singing along with Jimmy that it was the match of the year. Yes. I was there.
Yes. And then this time I was there.
When you get that closure of a wrestling storyline that goes on for that long, and you get the happy ending and the closure, and everybody moves on and everything's wonderful. As they say, kids, when wrestling is good, it's fucking great.
Yes. And then we had to. Okay, we kind of fell into the master plan. So at the last moment, our boy Jury acquired us tickets to NXT that was going on right after, during Ring of Honor.
Let's talk about NXT.
So we kind of got out there just before the Jushin Liger match. I'm sorry about that. Kind of missed the main event.
So you missed Jay versus Joe?
Yeah. I know.
Come on, man.
If you could see how much the tickets to NXT cost, you said.
Were they a lot? Were they a lot?
Well, they were on StubHub, and 3 days before the event, and they were floor seats. So.
Oh, okay. You know what? Okay. Me, tough decision. Really tough decision. Because you got, on one hand, you've got BJ Whitmer and Jimmy Jacobs. You've got Jay Briscoe and Samoa Joe. And then also you've got Red Dragon, who now I truly love. And then on the other hand, you've got NXT. And everybody knows what NXT is right now. NXT is the place. NXT is the ish.
Yeah.
So it's probably a good thing I wouldn't have been there, because I would have been waffling.
Yes. And then you would have just fell into a puddle and missed everything.
Right.
But we did make it to...
Maybe SoCal Val would have come consoled me. It's like, Val, I can't choose. I can't choose which one.
We did go to... end up at NXT about 11 o'clock. We missed an hour of it. We missed Bailey, which hurt my heart a little bit. She had her great moment.
I will tell you, PD, out of the goodness of her heart, none other than Stephanie McMahon Levesque actually streamed the show from her phone over Periscope. She was there in the crowd, and she actually got the stream going on her phone for people that were not there live, because it wasn't recorded, it wasn't televised. It was like a house show. It was basically just there.
Yeah.
But Stephanie, because she is as much about NXT as her husband, apparently, got the show up and running and got it live, and I got to see Bailey.
Yes.
I got to see Finn Balor, the Demon Finn.
Which I got to see, yeah.
I got to see Adrian Neville. I got to see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens cut his fantastic promo. Well,
yes.
And Sami. I mean, again, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. both Petey and I could go on about those guys for
Yes,
days.
for a million years, yeah.
However, you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yes.
You know what I'm going to talk about.
So, for context, I got there in the middle of Rhino's match. Rhino versus, what's his face? Baron Corbin?
Corbin Reigns, as the crowd called him.
Yes.
And Enzo and Cass, who,
yes.
my God, are they over?
Yes.
I mean,
my God.
Jesus Christ.
I was there. Okay, let's talk about Enzo and Cass for a moment, because there was a lot of great moments. But when they were introducing the 3 teams for that elimination tag match, and Enzo and Cass's music come on, and the place erupted. 5,000 people, all on their feet and energized.
Now, Pete, I have to ask you: have you ever been at like a really big wrestling show before this, where it's just like this crazy and this hype?
This crazy and this hype? No, not really. I can't say that I really have, because I've been to big wrestling shows. I've been to SummerSlam and I've been to a Raw before, but this was this much concentrated hype, no.
Like the crowd definitely had that vibe of an indie show, or maybe even an old ECW show.
Yes.
And it was just that energy was really something incredible. And when Enzo and Cass came out, it felt like something that I hadn't felt from a wrestling crowd in a long, long time.
Yes.
Well, technically, it was something that I hadn't felt for maybe a few minutes before that, but we're gonna get to that.
Yes.
Petey, we're gonna get
to that. We're gonna get to that. But
Enzo and Cass. Enzo and Cass.
Hearing everybody, and because I don't have the speech memorized just yet, but hearing everybody speak along to every single word.
Is Enzo Amore. I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And it's right here. This is Big Gas. He's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this Carmella, she's hot as hell, and everybody boos her because we all like blue pants. And you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guys in the room. How you doing?
Yes. And that was, the energy for that moment was so great. And I think it was brilliant to put them in an elimination match, because they literally got to give the fans the moment of Enzo and Kaz winning without taking the belts off of the guys that won, the Wub Wub team.
Yeah, Enzo had offense. Enzo did moves.
And he danced, and it was awesome. He did the butt wiggle, and it was amazing. Just those little things, like yeah, I'm Enzo. I just did a move on you.
If those two go to the main roster, and the WWE Universe does not take to them, then I think every other wrestling fan out there should just declare war.
Yeah, like I know that. Well, it's a different crowd to kind of gauge things on, but we'll talk about Raw later. But I know that there was some NXT fans.
Also, during the show, did you hear the thing that Stephanie caught her husband on camera saying during the live stream?
No. Wait, I don't remember which one.
During the show, Stephanie panned over. Hunter had come away from the gorilla position or wherever, and she was like, "Hey, here he is, guys. Here he is. He's the guy that made it all happen." And Mr. Hunter said into the camera, "Hey, developmental, my ass."
Yes. That was I didn't see it, but that was brought up in our conversation about NXT. Where we actually had an interesting. Go check out the episode we talked about. We had actually an interesting conversation where is NXT developmental, and then we kind of had a conversation. What does developmental mean? Do we kind of take away the idea that it's a
do you want me to get into my NXT conspiracy theory?
Go ahead.
All right. Now, you've probably seen this on various parts of the internet wrestling community, and I believe that it might not be as apocalyptic as some may seem, but I believe it is valid. I believe that Triple H saw the model that Ring of Honor was originally built on, in that it created this sort of super indie promotion, bringing all of these amazingly talented dudes from various parts of the indies and Japan and wherever, and just bringing them all together to just make this crazy super promotion. However, the downside of this that a lot of indie fans and a lot of hardcore wrestling fans are seeing is that this is going to start leading to a lot of talent leaving independent wrestling and going to NXT. Some are saying that it is a talent raid, not unlike what happened with ECW. Some are even going so far as to say Triple H is looking to follow in his father-in-law's footsteps and, in a lot of ways, kill off the territories with NXT. I'm not totally on that train yet.
Yeah. ...
However, I will admit that I find it a little concerning.
We have concerns. Wait, that's a different podcast. Sorry.
Nope. I can start making dad jokes, though.
Yes.
You know
I won't limit you. I won't limit you. I'm not Anthony Camboni. Gamboni. I'm not Anthony Gamboni. Nor Carboni. But yes. Yeah, it was an interesting discussion about the NXT and what it means to the wrestling indies. I don't think we got into that. We mostly talked about how it was, you can almost kind of divorce the pejorative aspects of saying it's developmental, because it is still a home for developing yourself as a performer and an athlete and as a wrestler, be it the Performance Center or be it trying things out in live in front of people at NXT. So as a place to develop, it's still kind of that, But as the whole developmental hell, the old, basically when we think of developmental, really what we're thinking about is kind of this wrestling
purgatory.
Purgatory. I kept forgetting the word purgatory.
Honestly, that is what Ohio Valley Wrestling was before Paul Heyman started booking it. That is what Florida Championship Wrestling was. The company that NXT eventually evolved into. When people said developmental hell or developmental purgatory, that's exactly what they were thinking. When people said creative has nothing for you, that's what they meant. Now you have fans all over the place saying, I'd rather guys be in NXT, or I'm happy just watching NXT on the WWE Network. Yeah,
and it's still a place to develop, and it's still a place to grow, and it's still a place where a bunch of people are learning, and a bunch of people are able to kind of get further training, get some finishing, get some kind of better themselves, perfect the craft, better themselves. So it's still developmental. But it's no longer. But developmental right now isn't a bad word. That's basically what we. Yeah.
If anything, it's become a positive, because you're seeing guys and girls.
Yes, which we will talk about shortly.
Best performances they can to make themselves known.
Yes, and speaking of girls putting out amazing performances, ladies.
I was just going to say, you missed the mega pop that Bayley got, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, I missed it, which was a bummer. I wanted to be there because I adore Bayley. I purchased the I'm a Hugger t-shirt. I tried to purchase it because we made a trip to the Superstore that was next to Access. And one of the big disappointments was looking through the I'm a Hugger t-shirts and going, MMMLLLL 2XL. It's like, wait, where's mine? And it's like, oh, I couldn't buy my t-shirt. But I did get one. I got an I'm a Hugger t-shirt, and there were many more being worn. And I think that was probably why I couldn't find an XL, because there were many I'm a Hugger t-shirts around the town, because she's local. She is a NorCal girl. But
Bayley got the mega pop.
Yes. But another fantastic women's match that got the crowd hyped was none other than the boss, Sasha Banks.
And the genetically superior Charlotte. Woo!
Yes.
I love Charlotte.
Yes. And it was, it's funny because like it was a match that we've seen before, but it's a match that never disappoints. Like, you've seen it like 2 or 3 times. It never disappoints. It never underwhelms. Like it was from front to back. Fantastic, and I think it speaks to their chemistry because they've been working together for so long, for a while now, together.
I'm gonna make a comparison. Those two, Sasha Banks and Charlotte, you would almost equate them to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm. Because they're longtime friends. They've worked together for
partners,
so long. Tag team partners.
They're rivals.
Yeah. And
but Petey, we gotta talk about it.
We gotta talk about it. Okay. I want to talk about it. Okay, so many great little moments from Sasha Banks, so many great moves and moments from Charlotte. Such a great match, and I was so happy that the crowd was just into it. Like they wanted to watch this women's match, and they were like saying,
absolutely.
Like they were hyped about women's wrestling. They saw the future and they were hyped about it, and it was great. It was. There were
5,000 fans there, giving divas a chance, and Vince McMahon was there that evening. And here's hoping he paid attention.
Mm-hmm. And 6 minutes at WrestleMania, maybe that's progress, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But yes, DJM.
You gotta talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
I can't hold it in anymore. I can't hold it in anymore, Petey.
Yes.
The opening contest of this show is Tyler Breeze, Prince Pretty, taking on Hideo Itami. It was a good back and forth contest. Tyler was his normal, wonderful, gorgeous self.
Mm-hmm.
Hideo Itami
selfie stick
looked better than ever. The man formerly known as Kenta is taking form that is resembling his former self more and more every day. The more you see Hideo Itami, things are starting to form, and you are seeing the guy that so many of us are in love with as a performer. And the end of this match, this might be the biggest internet wrestling community wrestlegasm that has happened in years. The end of this match, Hideo Itami looked to the crowd. He pulled down his knee pad. He looked around to the NXT fans in California. He took up Tyler Breeze. He threw him off, and it happened. Hideo Itami hit the go-to sleep.
Yes. Yes. It was.
There has not been a wrestling fan eruption of pure joy like that in any promotion in maybe years.
Yes.
And when it went out on Twitter, it was like the only comparison that I can make is at Death Before Dishonor in 2005 for Ring of Honor. The match was CM Punk versus Austin Aries. It was supposed to be CM Punk's final match in Ring of Honor. And CM Punk wins the world title.
Yes.
The internet explodes. Like, wait, what? Punk won the title? What the hell's going on? And that was like this. It was just, Hideo hit the go to sleep. He did it. He finally did it. Oh my god. And then video after video of it, and like you could even see the referee when he was counting. He was like 1, 2, 3, fuck yeah!
Yes.
The referee was excited because the fact that Hideo Itami, at least for one night, took back his move, the move that he innovated, the move he invented, the move he made famous. It was such a cathartic moment as a wrestling fan that level of joy may never be experienced again.
Yes, which is kind of bittersweet, and it's kind of a bummer I didn't get to see it.
But I think at this point they know. I think WWE is aware that
Yes,
when it is time for Hideo to come to the main roster, and should the situation arise, I think pretty much everybody will be okay. I don't think it's a secret that it's his move. He invented it, and Mr. Brooks took that move from him, borrowed it. So, I mean, generally it's just Hideo Itami taking back his finish. So, and everybody was happy. Everybody was cool with it. So, that was a WrestleGasm, Petey. That was a true WrestleGasm.
And I think if anything else, it was a good moment. I wish I could have seen it, but I'm gonna try to find it. But yeah, it was. I remember. I think you tweeted me, or no, you may have even just texted me, I believe.
Yes, I texted you.
Because I was on the road. I was on the highway, going from freaking Redwood City to San Jose.
And here I am thinking you're already at the show, and I'm watching it, and I'm just like, Petey, he didn't go to sleep. He did it.
I'm on the highway, like
he did it. Why aren't you there? Why aren't you responding? Say something. He did it. Where do you?
And then I cried. And then I got there and I saw Sasha Banks and Charlotte, and then Finn Balor and a bunch of great wrestling, and I was happy. Because Finn Balor was fantastic, and
he's gonna be a WrestleMania main eventer. There's no way he's not.
There's no way that's not gonna happen. We got to see the face paint live, the entrance live,
the Demon Finn.
The Demon Finn, and overall it was just a killer show. We were worried that we were gonna miss a lot of it. And then we got there, and somebody told us, it's going till 12. I'm like, it's 11 something. I'm like, okay, I guess it's going to be a short, fun experience. But it went till 1 o'clock. We saw 2 hours of great wrestling, and we were like, yeah.
That it did go to 1 o'clock, and that it was actually the boss himself, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, that put the money down for another hour.
Nice.
He said, you know what? Damn it, this NXT's all right. We'll have another hour. Damn it, I'm Vince McMahon.
Yes.
That's the story that went around.
Yeah, and that's pretty awesome. And there was just a lot of great wrestling, and we ended up just exhausted and hyped at the end of the night. It's like, this was the best weekend ever. That's what a wrestling
show should be. You should
combos.
You should leave crawling back to your car in the parking lot. You should leave crawling.
Yes, and that was fantastic. And then, of course, the weekend, it was followed up by our, it was Saturday, so we did, what was that, Saturday? Saturday, of course, we did the WWN Live Super Show, and then we had to rent the car because we had to get it back to Oakland in time for Hoodslam. I know you said you had thoughts on Hoodslam. We had a big discussion on Hoodslam. In fact, we had 40 minutes of discussion on Hoodslam because it was one of the shows that all four of us got to attend and all four of us got to enjoy together. I was able to see 2 Hoodslam shows this past weekend. Last weekend, with one on Thursday, one on Saturday, because it was Entertainia 2, 3, and 4, 3 consecutive days because they were having their 5th anniversary, so they were going to have Entertainia 5. But they had only done one Entertainia before. So it's like, let's do 2, 3, and 4 this weekend and correspond with WrestleMania weekend. And And we talked about how it was a fun punk rock spectacle, and we had a blast. I had Joseph Joe Brody pour whiskey down my throat while I stood in the crowd, and we stood at ringside, and we saw a lot of craziness. But DJM, you had some thoughts.
I have some thoughts. Petey Ray, first of all, let me just say that I'm glad that you, Rick Foster, Mitzula, and Justin Robert Young had a good time at Hoodslam. I'm glad you enjoyed it. However, I must say, when it comes to Hoodslam and the likes of Lucha Vavoom and a lot of things going on in the California indie wrestling scene, I've come to the conclusion that I'm just not as into it as some others might be.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a lot of things going on with Hoodslam and Lucha Vavoom that are almost anti-pro wrestling in a way. When I listened to a podcast last weekend when all of this was going down, where somebody talked to the folks behind Hoodslam, and they seemed very. I know that the whole thing at Hoodslam is fuck the fans, and they say that kind of with a wink and a nod, but the more I watch of Hoodslam and the more I see what they're about, the more I start to believe that that's not exactly a wink and a nod, and I think that when they say fuck the fans, they might be a little bit more genuine about it than some people might admit. Because, truth be told, I am a wrestling nerd. I'm an unapologetic wrestling nerd. I'm going to a wrestling show to watch the product they put on. I don't need tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of pop culture references and adult humor to enjoy a wrestling product. I'm someone that is not ashamed to admit that I'm not too cool for pro wrestling. There is a very strong sentiment of people that go to Hoodslam and Lucha Vavoom that are going there not because of what's being put in front of them, but almost in a way that it's kind of a joke. And this is a genre that I passionately love, and it's not a joke to me. So really, just by and large, Petey, I'm glad you guys had a really good time, but at the end of the day, I realized I'm probably not cool enough to go to Hoodslam or Lucha Vavoom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not one of the cool kids. It's really not for me.
Yeah, I will say it was a fun ride. It was a fun show. It was a fun spectacle and a visual. It was interesting kind of seeing people like Mustafa Saeed show up all of a sudden to accompany Pooh Jack, Winnie the Pooh as New Jack, to the ring. We saw Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, which I will say one of my disappointments versus Scorpion versus Sub-Zero was that it wasn't just Scorpion versus Sub-Zero. They kind of added like 2 extra levels of things where Scorpion was Scorpion Undertaker and Sub-Zero was doing his own Undertaker thing, and then Sub-Zero has stolen his like the monks. So Scorpion Undertaker came out as the American Badass, and he had a bunch of Fred Durst clones, and I was like, and I enjoyed it. It was a fun thing, but I mentioned it last week. I was like, I would have enjoyed just seeing Scorpion versus Undertaker, or Scorpion versus Sub-Zero in a wrestling match. It would have been just kind of like, hey, he freezes him, and then they wrestle for a bunch, and then just have these little touches. But yeah, they do try to add multiple layers, which is okay. And I think I think it's a fun show to go to, and it's a fun thing to look at. And I might bring it on the show, at least to show it to a couple of people and see how they react to the spectacle.
Fine. That's cool.
We'll see how people react to the spectacle.
You know me, I'm open to anything.
But I think overall, I enjoyed the product, and overall, I wouldn't say that it's too cool. It is an interesting show. Drink.
We've had about 12 of those already.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know me. Still the same OG. But I've been low key. And funny enough, like one of the comments I said, it's a drunken, wild spectacle. There's about like at least an ounce of weed smoked by in-ring competitors alone, and it's fun. I will say
that doesn't click with me. That's what I'm saying.
Which is understandable. And one of the things we talked about, how I mentioned last week, is the whole buffet analogy with indie wrestling and professional wrestling, which is, there's something for everyone, and this happens to be an offering that at a part of the line where you're not really going to visit, but others might, and that's
okay. That's totally okay.
But yeah, I would say that I still had a fantastic time at that show, and that was Hoodslam. And then I think it all capped off. Of course, we had our big. We don't have to go through the Wrestlemania thing because you can watch our entire reactions to it live as it happened, because we've streamed that whole reaction commentary. But let's go to the Raw, Smark Raw, and let's touch on that one.
Smarkamania.
And my biggest comment is they were able to keep the Smarks at bay for almost the entire show. Almost the entire show. Almost. Except for maybe a smattering of inappropriate chants.
Yeah, shame on you.
Yes. Shame on you. They were mostly able to keep everyone interested and excited.
Because lo and behold, they booked a pretty good show.
Yeah, and they had a good flow to it. They had Brock Lesnar come out to a nice face pop, a nice positive, good guy pop, because he was the guy that got screwed over fantastically. They had brilliantly. And the thing we were all waiting for, which was Paul Heyman with the microphone. And that's really all we want in the world.
People were trying to tell me Paul Heyman couldn't be a babyface manager. That's what people tried to tell me. People eat paste. I don't know. You can't understand what people want to do. Man, Waves can't understand, Petey Rave.
Yeah. And there was just so many fun moments. Even the Divas match had some fun, had some excitement, because aside from those chants, and we'll talk about those chants, but they did have the moment where some people were trying to chant CM Punk, and then the rest of the audience, well, not the rest, but a good portion of the rest of the audience, booed them down and started a Let's Go AJ chant, which was fun and fantastic and made me happy.
That's exactly what should have been done, and, well, I would say should keep happening, but not really.
Not anymore! Maybe we should. Well, we'll talk about that. But we did also get even before that, we also got a "We Want Bailey" chant, because AJ was wearing the "I'm a Hugger" T-shirt, and we were like, "We want Bailey," and it was a nice, sizable crowd chanting for Bailey, and that was awesome. And had AJ react, showing off a T-shirt like, "Yeah, we want Bailey," because everybody loves Bailey, really.
Seriously, if you don't like Bailey, you might be literally Hitler. You might be panty and stocking with garter belt levels of evil.
Exactly.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, I don't understand people.
I'm looking at you right now. How can you not like Bailey? What is your deal, man?
Judging you. But it was and it was a fun moment. It also had a fun moment of Naomi getting kind of her win, and she impressed, and she with her invoking the spirit of Pinky Sanchez with her backside based offense.
She does that way better than Pinky Sanchez ever did. Way better.
Which is understandable, because she's got better backside. Let's just be honest.
I'm telling you, Naomi is probably like under the radar, like really, really great. Under the radar.
Yeah, and they were fantastic. And of course, and then I think one of the few moments I was embarrassed to be a wrestling fan was the "You suck, name a spouse here a chance."
Yeah, which was awful.
That was awful. And it was like, and Justin Robert Young pointed out kind of the progression that kind of made sense, which was, all right, you suck, you suck, Cena. It's like, all right, man, that's inappropriate, but you know what? She's a heel. I could kind of understand that, maybe. You suck, Brian. Okay, the other heel. The you suck, Punk. Is like, oh, come on.
Nope.
No, I'm out. I was out from the beginning, but now I'm really like just no. It's like.
Yeah, I'm not okay with any of those.
I was just when that happened, I was in the audience just like with my arms crossed, like what's going on here? And like, no.
I wish more people would have booed that too.
Yeah, and it's a bummer. And of course, I think, and then it capped off.
I think at that point, AJ, if there was any confirmation left for AJ, that was probably it.
Yeah, that's probably it. And then overall, it was a well-booked show. I had great moments from Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler. Had a cool match, and I still love seeing Dolph Ziggler's denim jacket.
And Daniel Bryan is the Intercontinental Champion, and he's teasing everybody about him having a match with Shinsuke Nakamura, and Nakamura even responded, and he was like, "Yes, let's do it." And
yes.
Of course, don't people, don't. You're just hurting yourselves. Don't fantasy book. Don't tweet to Vince McMahon. Just don't.
No, it's worth it. If it happens, it happens, but it won't happen. So don't even try.
Just don't hurt yourselves.
We
do need to talk about the main event of this show.
Yes, the main event of the show, which was what I was getting to, which was where they finally lost the audience.
Did they?
Oh, did they? So many great chants, and you know what? It's not the fans. Yeah, they were being smarky, they were being silly, and they were being self-aggrandizing, and they were partying themselves over. But you almost have to blame booking.
I believe that this isn't necessarily a bad thing until they got to the "We Are Awesome" chants.
Which was actually, honestly, something that was encouraged throughout the whole weekend, and it started at NXT. And they were getting praises at NXT, and they were saying, like, some smattering of people were going, "We are awesome," and then Sami Zayn said, "Yeah, no, don't stop. You are awesome. Go, we are awesome." And he kind of turned it into we, as in the fans and the people that built NXT are awesome. We are all awesome.
He is the savior of all mankind, Sami Zayn.
And I think that was something that cropped up from NXT, and then those people must have been there. So I'm going to give the "We Are Awesome" chance as a break, because that was part of the whole NXT train. Okay. Because that was part of the whole NXT.
I will tell you, on commentary, they act along with the Lucha Dragons and how Kalisto really got over. On commentary, quite a few times they were like, "Well, all right, NXT, you guys. If you're not checking out NXT by now, hey,
good. $9.99. Go check out the network.
It's on the WWE network for $9.99."
Yes. And of course, Neville had a great debut, and then of course the main event, we had all the chants of basically went through the entire chant, the entire NXT roster with a nice "How you doing" chant for Enzo and Kaz. A nice Kevin Owens chant, a nice Sami Zayn chant. There were several NXT chants all throughout the night.
Quite a few of the members of the NXT roster were tweeting live as that was happening. Enzo and Carmella did a hashtag "How you doing," and Kevin Owens was like, "We hear you guys. We hear you."
And
I hope they do. I hope they do.
And then, of course, culminated with the ultimate.
And nobody cheered for Alex Riley.
Which is understandable. And then it all culminated in the ultimate "we don't care about what you're doing, we're just going to entertain ourselves" move in a crowd of people, which is the wave. Nothing says "we don't care what you're doing" more than a crowd participating in a wave. And it got around several times.
They mentioned this on commentary as well. It's like, wow, there's a wave going on right now. I guess they're all really into NXT, I guess.
Yeah. I think Mitzula clocked it at about 11 times, maybe.
Jeez.
it went all throughout, and it made it past the Titantron. We didn't miss our cue on our side because we were right at the beginning. Right, we kind of had an odd angle. We couldn't see the Titantron, but we were kind of like we were the beginning essentially. We didn't miss our cue. Once we saw it disappear behind the Titantron, we got up and we started it again, and it was like, and it went around for a while.
That is unfortunate.
Yes.
As I think after that Monday Night Raw, I can honestly officially say I'm starting to feel bad for Roman Reigns. I feel bad for the dude. Not after WrestleMania, because I think what happened at WrestleMania will be good for him in the long run.
Yeah.
But after that Raw, I don't think he deserved that.
No, it's funny. He gets more hate than he deserves. I think on a grand level. I think we've talked about. And it's a bummer. And it's like he is Cena 2.0 because Cena himself gets more hate than he deserves. You can talk about the booking, you can talk about how they treat Cena, how you use them, but like he's still a good guy, and he can actually hey, here's the secret: he can actually do some good matches. Like he can wrestle some good matches.
He's done a lot of them.
Yes, with people that you like, with your faves. Like he's not just being carried either.
Yeah,
no, he's pretty good. He likes wrestling. He knows what he's doing.
He was the guy that tried to get Evan Bourne a lot of face time. He's the guy that's a big fan of Colt Cabana.
Yes.
Guys, Petey, can you put me on a single?
Yes.
Guys, come here. It's your old buddy DJM. I'm going to let you in on a big secret. John Cena's one of us. He likes a lot of the same guys we do. He's one of us. And he's pretty damn good, too.
Yeah. I think people need to realize that. I think that's the biggest
Randy
indicator.
Orton can eat a dick.
You better secure your duffel bag. You don't want to end up having it poop in it. Yes. But yeah, I think that capped off Raw. I think that capped off the whole weekend, and overall, it was a fun weekend. Like, what was your impression of WrestleMania weekend this year?
My impression of WrestleMania weekend is that the wrestling world, is a better place with Alundra Blaze in it.
Yes.
And man, I really hope that with Ring of Honor and NXT and WWN Live, and even to an extent what happened at WrestleMania and how things are looking with Seth Rollins as WWE Champion going forward, I really hope deep down that this is going to be the beginning of some outstanding quality wrestling television.
Yes. We can only hope. And for like Indy Wrestling, and to be fair, next year, as they were announcing during WWN Live, they did secure a venue for the WWN Live experience across the street from Access.
Oh wow!
For next year. I think it's because it might be technically in a neighboring town, just from one street to the next. Just because how Texas is, it might be like technically it's in Irving.
Nice.
So it's like, but it will be across the street, and because y'all know that WWE is boxing them out. There's a reason that they had to go to the Santa Clara Fairgrounds.
It's a reason so many of us are worried about NXT and the Indies, you guys.
Yeah. It's like, there's a reason they were at Santa Clara Fairgrounds, and ROH was in Redwood City in a recreational sports facility. It was just because like they're doing venues.
The evil empire is doing their thing.
It's like, hey, city that wants to have a WrestleMania. About this
exclusivity agreement.
Boom. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say y'all can't just have anybody else. It's a WWE thing. It's like, all right, it's a thing, but you know what? They are gonna have a good venue next year, and I don't know. Maybe we'll have.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and make it next year.
We'll have. I'll try to pressure, even without Justin there. We'll still make it Jury Mania Lone Star. Just like this year with Jury Mania Play Button.
As long as I have income and a life that isn't falling to pieces, I'll try and be there.
Mm-hmm. And for another fantastic year of wrestling excitement. Indy Wrestling. I think we're hopeful for the future. It was a fun weekend, so and it might be another fun weekend next year. We'll have to see. It'll be an interesting thing because I'll probably be at South by Southwest, so it'll be like I'll drive up 3 hours from South by Southwest. That'll be an interesting thing. But that's it. I'm rambling. And I think that's the biggest sign that we are about time to wrap it up. So, DJM, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Petey, thank you once again for another great season of the Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast. I am officially declaring wrestling burnout.
Yes.
Right here, right now, I am officially burnt out on wrestling. I am taking a break. We will be back for the next season of Fanny Pack, but right now, I am taking myself out of the bubble.
Yes.
So check me out at the A3K Network at anime3000.com, where I host the A3K podcast weekly, Saturday nights on the YouTube, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also check out the Nanashi Anime podcast through A3K. Also, my written reviews coming up soon. Technolize. All on the web at anime3000.com. Delta Juliet Mike.com for shooting the shit with two nerdy black guys and whatever else I may come up with. And on Twitter at Just Call Me DJM.
And of course, I'm Petey Rave. Petey is in Williams, Rave is in Jimmy. As we said, this was, it was season 4. The finale was last week. This kind of caps off another grand season. We'll gear up and get ready for season 5. In due time, but for now we're going to go on a little bit of a hiatus. We'll probably do some fun, just random other things in between time.
For real. Total wrestling burnout.
Exactly. But that's it. Look out for that here on FannyPackWrestling.com, FannyPackWP for more updates on the Twitters. And that's it. Rebelli.net. Check us out, youtube.com/RebelliTV. But that's it. Until next time. Hasta los huevos.
Beans and disease, everybody. Until next season. I'm pulling a Tom Merritt. I'm not dancing.
I'm Derek Kitchen.
Still not dancing.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Oh, you got one of those? Cool.
Yeah. Well, they gave it out for free. They were just like, it's like, hey, here, download this. Use it on all your podcasts.
Cool.
Yeah. So I just threw that on there. Well, yeah, I was at the Buzz Out Loud reunion, too. That was pretty cool. And I think you saw that. It was at the Buzz Out Loud reunion.
I caught it. I caught some of it, yeah.
It was cool, and that's how I met Molly Wood, and I soft booked her for the show. Because apparently she's next season.
We need to get like a really good show for her.
Yeah, like the easiest thing would be PWG.
Does she live in California?
Yes. Well, she's in NorCal, but yeah, she lives in California, so it makes sense.
PWG, it is. PWG, it is.
I could even try to see if we can wrangle in Annie Gauss and make that a really cool show. Not that.
I'm not opposed. We still need to get Jeff Kanata too.
Yeah. Maybe so. That could be something I try to do in person at Nerdtacular, because he's gonna be at Nerdtacular.
When is Nerdtacular?
The tough part is that's late July, early August. But we'll probably be doing episodes by then.
Honestly, right now with me in conventions, it's like ASEN, Colossal Con, Otakon,
Yeah.
and then I'll just pass out. I'll have convention burnout.
Yes.
But
the cool thing about
one of the previously mentioned friends and I are doing like a summer of anime cons.
Yeah,
So.
nice. Yeah, the cool thing about Nerdtacular, is it's kind of a chill. It's a super chill kind of event more than anything.
You know me, Petey. I don't do chill.
It's in the mountain.
I hesitate to use this term, but I turn up. You know me.
Yes.
I don't do chill.
Yes. All right. Let's go ahead.
I'm at Nerdtacular. I'm gonna be looking for the rave.
Yes. There's always a music show. And there is at least Smoke Monster. Well, you don't smoke, but you don't smoke cigars, but
I don't.
But it is still fun. All right, we're gonna say goodbye to the live audience. Goodbye, DCT.
All right.
I think.
Good night, everybody.